Sure. I have, first of all, I don't think I could have said any of that any better than either of you just now, in terms of the messages for people who are either new to the community or who are suffering in the community in silence. The biggest thing that I'm going to say is, the ways that we are able to fight back and the way that we are able to actually make our voices heard and the way that we are able to finally put a lot of this violence behind us is to come together, find our people, organize. And I mean this in every single possible way. It's a cruel world out there. We are not people who are just able to have the luxury of, living in a way that we can just fight a lot of these things on our own. And what I will say is, we need to organize, and it's risky. It puts us in a position where we could have the spotlight on us. The kink community has never been treated well by, the gay community or the queer community, or let alone, everyone outside of that narrow band. But this is where I'm going to say that there are organizations out there who are there to help you, right? And there are resources out there that are there to help you. There's Taisha Best's POCL, right? People of Color Kink and Leather Experience. There's Onyx Pearls. There's Onyx. There's now the Asian Leather and Kink Alliance, ALKA. And I would say, come with us, join us, let's fight back against these people and these institutions, because they are institutions and they are systems in the kink community as well that are white supremacists and maintain this power for the benefit of people who are not like them. And then my final message would be for the people who are listening to this, who are trying to find out how to be better allies, who are listening to this because they have finally maybe decided that they want to be a part of the change. One of the things that really makes me very sad is when I go onto social media and I see all these white gay men, all these people who have a great amount of privilege, and in their social profiles, they're talking all the time about Stop Asian Hate or Black Lives. I mean, they're usually abbreviating those things, right? And not really actually talking about the issues and actually engaging with us in meaningful ways. But then you look at their kink profiles, or you look at their OnlyFans, or you look at their, quote unquote adult profiles, and they're completely silent. And they don't say anything about the literal murders that are happening to us, the assaults that are happening to us on a regular basis, the sexual assaults that are happening to us on a regular basis. We want you to get as mad as we have suffered. We want you to take the emotional energy and all of the labor that we do for you for free and double that in demanding better from your leaders, demanding better from your communities, demanding better from your groups, demanding better from your events, demanding better from your vendors, demanding better from your partners, demanding better from those you play with. Because it's not just putting a couple of letters or 3 letters on your Twitter profile or on your Facebook and tokenizing those of us in the community who begrudgingly pose for a photo with you. It is coming with us and doing the work. Also, pay us, especially Black trans women and Black women and Black femmes. Pay us for our labor.
Because, baby, sometimes you children don't want to recognize that if it was not, I'm going to tell a story. So we have a leather title holder here who once called and asked me if it would be okay for him to sing I'm here from the musical The Color Purple because he closely identified with Celie. And I had to look at this person and say, baby, I'm going to need you to stop the whole narrative inside every white gay boy is a black woman dying to get out. That is an entirely different story, and that is not your story. That is not for you. That is not for you. And there is so much obviously of queer culture that comes out of the language of people of color. Be aware. I'm not telling you not to use language, because language, some aspects of language very much are intertwined within a culture. And so I get it. But there are aspects of language that belong to people. And I watched a few weeks ago a young white trans woman discuss the terms clocked and various other things that and then had this entire huge discussion as a Facebook thread about terms that come out of Black and Latina trans culture that we created to stay safe. Like, there is language that was created by people so that they would be safe. Now, I understand that there might be some words that might have some sting to it. I get it. I'm not going to deny that some language in queer culture is not problematic. There is language in queer culture that is problematic, but also there were people who created language to simply be able to exist and walk down the street. You know, the reason, I'll be honest and say the reason I come to conversations like this without a lick of face on is so that people understand that, baby, I don't get up in the morning and throw on 20,000 pounds of paint, because for me, it's not worth it. I work with kids. My kids love me for me. My kids don't give a damn how glamorous I am. All they care about is that they don't have wet butts and they got a snack. That's what my kids care about. My kids keep me humble. My kids keep me very, very real. Then there are the moments where my kids, for example, I work in a daycare center. I want you to know that my kids were very, very bitter with me last Halloween, because you know what? My kids want to see what I do. My kids want to see me as Storm. Do you know how strange it is to have a 10-year-old boy snatch your edges? I have one of my kids who was reading Lion, the Witch, and the Wardrobe a few weeks ago when we were having virtual learning. This child looked me dead in my face and said, Miss Teddy, yes, baby. Do you have something at home that looked like the White Witch and Narnia? I had to look at this child and I'm like, I'm not talking to you no more. Get away from me. And I walked away laughing because, well, I do. I mean, I do have something that looks like the White Witch of Narnia, but I was not expecting this child to ask me, could you wear it to school? So, but that's the thing. At this point, baby, it's about living your life and living your life honestly. And one of the things about doing that is accepting who you are. We always talk about pride in ourselves. Well, baby, it's time to look at yourself and say, this is who I am. And if you don't like it, my favorite line in the whole wide world is, well, baby, if you don't like it, you can kiss the crack of my natural black ass and I'm going to keep going. And that's exactly what it is.
Oh, one thing that I'll follow up for both of you is that we are very, very tired of seeing cis white gay boys go and use AAVE, rolling their necks and snapping their fingers. And then on top of that, with the problem from that, we see your social media feeds. We see no check-ins with anyone who's not white. We see very few pictures of someone who's not white unless they're in the background. Just because also you're not being racially discriminated with using AAVE and the mannerisms, you're also being discriminated with who you hang out with. So all the people here who are watching this, and white and cis, take a look, analyze yourself, and see who are you spending time with, and realize then you're engaging in passive racism if you don't have a diverse set of people.
And I think we see this, you know, all the time. You know, this discussion of appropriation of language is something that's really challenging, because it's not just language, right? And what you both were saying reminded me of Toni Morrison and her Nobel Prize lecture, where she says, the systematic looting of language can be recognized by the tendency of its users to forgo its nuanced, complex, midwifery properties for menace and subjugation. It's one of the most amazing quotes about the ways in which people feel that they have an ability to colonize, to commandeer, to co-opt the things that we hold dear and the things that make us unique. And we see this happen all the time. How many of us have gone onto social media and see somebody who has a pup name or a pet name that is Asian, right? How many of us go on to social media and see somebody who is engaging in behaviors that are basically not tantamount to, but 100% digital blackface, and 100% this horrible sense that, oh, what your culture is, that's now mine. The casual white supremacy and the casual imperialism that happens is not something that is just about, you know, interactions that are at a systemic level. It's the way that you talk to us too. It's the way that you claim to know more about our own cultural touchstones and our own core aspects of our people and the people who have been subjugated over history. And you think you know better than our ancestors, and you think you know better than those of us who live this every day. And it takes a lot of effort for some people to get to that point where they understand that. But it's once you know, it's just, it happens so often, so commonly, and so unreservedly that it's one of those things that I think is low-level genocide, quite frankly. It's not assimilation. It's not cultural appreciation. It's low-level genocide.
Thank you. Thank you all. I mean, that was really deep and that was really important. And, you know, I really appreciate your time, and I'm sure our listeners do too. And thank you, Alex. Thank you, Shadi. Thank you, Preston, for spending time and having this conversation, because these are all experiences that I think that are really important. And I think that we need to continue to have this conversation because it impacts so many of us. And as Shadi says, you know, you're not alone. If you are listening, you are not alone. So I just want to leave you with that. And again, thank you so much. And I really appreciate everyone's time here. And please, 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 you know, connect with our panelists, and please talk to them, and, you know, please learn more about these issues. Hopefully we'll be doing this again sometime soon. So, you know, it's really been an honor to sort of lead this conversation. So thank you all so much for your time. I will leave our viewers with that. And so basically have a wonderful weekend, everybody. Thank you very much. Bye-bye.